Marvel vs. Capcom 4 talk is great. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy the conversation, but I personally I think it's too early. I think people are entitled to talk about it, and it's really great that the community is getting back into the swing of things, especially with the Marvel vs. Capcom collection that's being released soon. And that's it. Love to talk, but I'm gonna give you my thoughts and opinions why I think it's too early, and give you everything else under that umbrella. Speaking of that, if you found this video under the browse feature or it was recommended to you and you decided to click on this video, I thank you so much. Everybody who's been subscribing to the channel as of late, you guys are absolutely awesome. I really, really appreciate it. And over here, we just talk about gaming. We talk about, topics in gaming. We do collections because I collect games as well. Everything under the umbrella that we talk about over here. So hopefully you will, enjoy the content over here. And I appreciate you for hitting the like button and subscribing. Let's go ahead and get into this. Look, I've been playing a lot of Marvel vs. Capcom lately. I did a live stream recently of X-Men versus Street Fighter, and that was actually fun to play again. I've been playing these games maybe once, maybe twice every other week or something like that, just to stay a little in the loop of playing these great games. But one thing I've been doing after the last like 5 or 6 days, I've just been on these games like crazy, and it is really refreshing to know that games from back then were just so good. Some fighting games, and the Versus series is just like one of a kind, and it's so good to see that this is returning. Now, what has happened is a lot of people are wondering, like, okay, if we support this, will it garner a Marvel 4? Yeah, obviously, I think it will, but we also have to think about it like this. Not trying to be on the opposite side of it, but I think that the Darkstalkers version of the Capcom collection, I personally think it is sold enough for them to come out with another Darkstalkers. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, but there hasn't been any rumblings behind that. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it's going to happen, that we're going to get another Marvel's Capcom. But I just think if we decide to continue to talk about it, make it a big deal, we will probably get one, just like we got this collection coming out. Now, what I will say is, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. I think the talk is great. I think we can continue to have that dialogue, but I think it's just too early because I want us to have the community with the Marvel's Capcom collection. Don't get me wrong. There's a pretty good community over there on Fightcade. Some people are emulating it, playing it on their PC, but I don't think it's big enough, and I don't think it's actually being recognized by Capcom to that extent. I don't think it's being recognized by Marvel to that extent. I think there's some developers over there think it's absolutely cool, but the higher ups, they look at stuff like that and be like, okay, that's borderline piracy. I mean, in some cases it is, but hey, we want to play these games and it's not readily available, and people are going to do that. And to be honest with you, if it's not readily available, you can't buy it anywhere, or you have to go through these obscure methods to play these games. Like you have to go all the way back to old titles like these, to play them. I don't see why you don't get a Flycast emulator or Fightcade and, play through Parsec. I mean, that's just the way it is, but it's not recognized through through the official channels. I'm pretty sure they don't recognize it to that extent. How do they recognize this stuff? Is people actually talking about it. People actually putting it out there on social media. People actually out there, having the real conversation that, hey, this is something that we will buy. Now, as far as them purchasing the game, we purchasing the game and buying it, look, that's no brainer. We're going to buy the game. Marvel's Capcom 2 is not going to sit on anybody's shelf. This collection itself is not going to sit on anybody's shelf and just not sell. Now, they may have expectations that are really high. Let's say they probably want to sell 6 million copies or something like way out of there, and it may not meet the expectations. And to the point, they may feel like, okay, it's not good enough. And I think it's crazy, but expectations versus reality is always, always button heads at times. So what I will say is just buy the game, put it on your wish list, buy it on multiple platforms. That's what I'm doing. And if you really want another Marvel vs. Capcom, I just feel like at the end of the day, we have a great opportunity to resurrect the fighting scene. Now, don't get me wrong. Street Fighter 6 done that. Tekken 8 done a pretty good job. But when you are still kind of alienating, and it kind of, they're all in the same loop, but you're kind of alienating a lot of guys and girls who love the Versus series. I think this is something that is really untapped potential to grow and blow up, and I think this collection would do that. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 alone is a cultural game. A lot of people outside of the gaming world fondly remember this game for 20 years ago and love playing it back then. They will probably bring those people back in. Also, what I will say before I get out of here, another thing I think that's an issue, and this may not happen, it may not happen no time soon, but I think it may be down the line, the next thing to happen. Capcom versus SNK is another branch of something that Capcom is going through right now. They just put Terry and Mai in Street Fighter 6. Based on how well that do, or it's probably already in the works, we may get a Capcom versus SNK or SNK versus Capcom. Personally, I would rather have an SNK versus Capcom because the SVC Chaos was okay, but I think they need another shot of making a game. So Capcom is probably going to be pulled in that direction to make the next collection would probably be a Capcom versus SNK collection. So maybe in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll probably get that, depending on how well City of the Wolves do, compared to how well Street Fighter 6 is still doing. We may get a new version of SNK versus Capcom or Capcom versus SNK. So I think that's going to be next down the pipe as far as what Capcom's going to do. So that'll probably have a Marvel 4 situation happen after the SNK situation. So like I said, the talk is great, but I think it's too early. The main thing we need to do is just continue to support, keep the word of mouth out there. And when the collection comes out, we need to be on that online for all of those games like crazy. I think that is something that will show, the numbers will show, the word of mouth will show, the dialogue in the community, as big as it can get, will show. So we will have a good chance of getting something like that. So I just think at the end of the day, we just have to understand how early it is. The game is not even out yet. The collection's not even out yet. And it's still carrying that buzz. But I don't see them trying to overstep or jump over what they're doing with the SNK as well. I think the SNK situation is something that needs to happen. And we may get a Capcom versus SNK collection first before we get a Marvel 4. So let me know what you guys think. This is just a great time. If you grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s playing these type of games, whether it be the Marvel series, whether it be the SNK stuff, overall, it is great. And still on top, you still got Street Fighter 6. You still got Tekken 8. You still got Mortal Kombat 1, which I think that game is actually a little better than I thought it would be. I've been playing it not too long. I've been playing it lately. It's kind of got a bad rap. It's actually pretty decent. So fighting games in general is just awesome right now. And it is a really good situation for us to continue to just push out our thoughts and comments and support. And it is really cool. So thank you guys once again. If you haven't already, hit the like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. And I definitely will see you guys on the next one. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll have more content throughout the week. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace.